Hello ladies, how are you? It's me, Dr. Maysoon Muhi, and in this lesson we will explain what is a short story and we will know something about its elements. So first, what is short story? A short story is a literary work with a fully developed theme but significantly shorter and less elaborate than a novel. It can be read in one setting, so it tells something about a single event or experience. In other words, it is not usually a multiple situation. Okay, and a short story is usually a fictional one. It means it is not true, although it may be based on something that is true, but it's still fictional one. The length of short story is between 500 to 15,000 words. Okay, and short story, as any literary work, it has a beginning, middle, and end. Short story also is supposed to create an impression on the reader. That is to say, it gives some sort of lesson, some sort of ideas towards the reader. Okay, so what are the elements of a short story? Now, the word elements, I mean by the word elements, are the pieces that make up a short story. Make up a short story to come together to create a strong or a fully comprehend a story as a whole. And these elements, we'll talk about 5 elements. We have 5 elements to short story, which are setting, character, plot, theme, and point of view. So let us take them individually, one by one. What's the meaning of setting, or what is setting? Setting, by the way, it answers the questions when and where. It is the time and the place of the story. It is a literary element of literature used in novel, short stories, plays, films, etc. And usually introduced, it is usually introduced in the exposition. We'll talk about exposition later on. What is exposition of the story, of course, along with the characters. Now, in the setting, or the setting also include the environment, the culture, where the story or where the events of the story happened. It can be made up of physical location, climate, as I said, cultural surroundings, social surroundings, etc. Now, this is the first element. What about the second element? Character. Character is a person, animal. So it is not. It's not all the time a person. It might be animal. It might be creature or anything in the story, and characters, the writers usually use characters to perform the action and speak a dialogue, moving the story along the plot line. And throughout the process of characterization, the writers introduce the characters. So characterization is the process by which the writers reveals the personality of a character, and characterization is a creation of imaginary people who appear to be real to the reader, as if they are real. When we are reading a short story, you feel that these creatures, these people, imaginary people, as if they are real characters, and the writers gives of course information about the characters in the story through the process of characterization. The characters give information about the characters in the story in a way of making the characters come alive, either through how they are speaking, what they are doing, what they look like, such a kind of sort. So the writers usually give the information about the characters to make them come alive and make the story also more interesting. This is for character and characterization. So what about the plot? Plot is a logical series, or series, not even a logical one sometimes. A series of events having a beginning, middle, and end. Through this series of events, the writer reveals what is happening to whom, and what are which one has been affected, etc. We are going to of course we are going to discuss more about the plot in a little while. Okay, so the fourth element of a short story is the theme. Theme is the message. Simply to say it, it's the message. It is the message that the writer is trying to convey. In another word, is the controlling idea or the central idea of the story. And of course, the writer introduces the theme to communicate to communicate what he wants, or he is trying to give the valuable lessons through the events of a story and through the theme. And the theme, we have to differentiate between theme and topic. Okay, sometimes when we are asking you about the theme, you're giving us a topic. Let me give you an example about Beauty and Beast. I think all of us we know the Beauty and Beast, this beautiful short story. If I ask you about the theme of this play, of this short story, you must say that the theme is don't judge a book by its cover, for instance. If I ask you about the topic, of course, this theme is different from the topic. The topic, it might be for the Beauty and Beast, that there is a lovely young woman who ends up falling in love with a beast. And something very important I want to say about theme. Theme is supposed to be written in a full sentence, not a word. I mean, don't say that the theme is about love only, or theme is about friendship, because you can say that friendship conquers all the difficulties. You have to elaborate. You have to give me a full sentence about the theme. The last element of a short story is point of view. Point of view is the perspective, the angle from which a story is told. That is to say, it is the position of the narrator of the story and what the writer sees from the vantage. And a point of view could be written in first person, I, we, or third person, he, she, it, etc. And it is important to know the point of view that the story is written from. Why? Because the author can reveal information or hold information back based on that point of view. And it is really a very important device, a literary device, that the author can use to really make the story more interesting. So let us recap the 5 elements again. So let us see again what are these elements. We said that the elements of a short story is setting, which answers the question when and where; character, which answers the question who; the plot, which answers the question what is going on, because it's a series of events. Okay. Also, we have we have the theme, which is the message that the writers want to convey. The moral lesson, the moral value, and we have the points of view, the perspective, the angle from which the writer is written, whether it is the first, the second, the third perspective. Okay, and we said that it is very important to know the point of view. Okay. As I told you that a plot has some pieces of it as well for its own. And these elements of a plot are exposition, rising action, conflict, climax, falling action, and resolution. Talking about exposition, what is exposition? It is the background information establishing the setting and describes the situation. It is that part that really sets up the story, sets the stage for the story, and it contains the setting, contains the character. So in exposition, somewhere we will find setting of the story. We can also, it can be something just like just be written in the just be found, sorry, in the first couple of lines, and it will have a little bit of introduction about the character, about the characters of the short story. Also, the characters are developed throughout the story, but in the beginning it tells us a little bit about those characters, and all these we can find it in the exposition at the beginning of the short story. Then throughout the action we have rising action, a series of conflicts or events which engage the reader to move along the action. So throughout rising action we have a conflict. A conflict are the problems or struggle in the story. It is a problem, that needs to be solved. Okay, and it engaged the reader in the story. It is really the series of conflicts along the way of the action. And we have two kinds of conflict. We have internal conflict and external conflict. Internal conflict between man and himself, man and his weaknesses, man and his own limitation. And external conflict between man and another man, like protagonist and antagonist, between man and versus his society, when he wants to take a road or path which is different from his own society. So that will be a kind of clashing, struggle between a man and his society, a man and the nature, like old man and the sea, will find such a kind of conflict. Okay, after conflict we have a climax. Climax is the highest point of conflict. It is when the actions comes to its highest point. So everything is a kind, of pull to that one big point, and everything becomes very tense, and you are not exactly sure what is going to happen next. Then we have following action. Following action, the events that occur after the climax. And after that we have resolution. It is the story action after the climax even, but until the end of the story. And it is the conclusion. It is the wrapped up of the whole story. It is where all problems are resolved. Here, or hence the word resolution, because everything is supposed to be resolved. Okay, we talk about character and characterization, which is one of the elements in the short story. But what are the types of characters? I think you know these types of characters. Let us make a kind of refreshment for you. We have protagonist and antagonist, round character, sometimes it's called dynamic characters. We have a flat character, and sometimes it's called static character. So what is a protagonist? The main character who is trying to achieve a goal. An antagonist, the character who causes problems in the story. And we have the round character, somehow a complex character, has many-sided, a very realistic one. Flat character with only one trait, and there is no depth in such kind of character. Okay. Now, here in this slide, we will talk about kinds of short story. What are the kinds of short story? Do we have only one kind? No, we have almost 4 kinds. We have fairy tales. I think all of us, particularly, cartoons, Cinderella, the Red Riding Hood, etc. What else? Particularly these stories that have royalty, fairies, wicked stepmothers, talking animals, we can find it in fairy tales. We have folk tales. Folk tales is similar to fairy tales, but the difference is that it usually concerns with ordinary people rather than royalty. Okay, fables characters are usually animals, plants, inanimate objects or forces of nature which are given human qualities. Okay, and the last kind we have realistic fiction. It is usually set in modern time and dialogues are very realistic. These are the four kinds of short stories that we can find it. Thank you so much, ladies, for your listening, and hope to see you in another lesson. Thank you and have a nice day.